Are these tariffs still set to take effect next week? Is March 4th the deadline? And what specifically could Canada and Mexico do to keep them from taking effect?
Well, first of all, in order to understand the trajectory of the president's trade policy, I'd urge everyone watching this show, and presumably most are investors, to read the presidential memorandum of day one of this administration, which lays out all the different types of actions. As for today, I was sitting, as you said, right behind the president. I thought he was quite clear in what he was going to do. For me, I came out here hoping to discuss this week's trade actions kind of in my lane. We did two really important things, which for investors really are market moving in the sense. The first was the digital service tax action we took. The president has directed the U.S. trade representative to resume action on these digital service taxes. And for the benefit of your viewers, a digital service tax is something that was effectively invented in France in 2019. It's a tax on things like cloud computing, digital advertising, all of that. But it was done in a way in France which only targeted American companies, specifically the big ones like Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix, and Microsoft. And essentially, the president back in 2019 saw immediately that this was both a punishment in a discriminatory way of American companies, but also a tax grab from the U.S. Treasury. And so the way that works is these digital taxes are put on and they go on revenues. What that does is reduce profits, then reduce like stock prices, and then also reduce revenues from the corporate tax. And
what about Canada and Mexico?
With respect to digital service taxes, well, Canada has one. Mexico does not.
No, we're just trying to clear up what we heard today from the president, Peter. I'm sorry. We're trying to understand whether these tariffs are going to take effect next week.
Because I made it clear that what the president said, just go back and play the clip, and he gave you a timeline. The underlying issue there,
well, they said April 2nd, though. We thought the deadline was March 4th.
The underlying issue, sir, is that too many Americans, anywhere from 50,000 on the low end to 300,000, which I think is the accurate number from the president, die every year from fentanyl that comes in from communist China in big chemical barrels. It goes to the drug cartels in Mexico, and the Mexican cartels then bring some of that up to Canada, and it comes across our border, and people either take it in the fentanyl direct form, or it's laced with other drugs like speed or heroin or whatever, and Americans are dying. So to the extent that that problem is going to be dealt with, I'm not in the center of those negotiations that being done by others in the administration. I would think as long as we have some progress, then we'll see what we will see. But it's up to the president. But the underlying the thing is, sir, it's like whenever I talk to people in the news about tariffs, they also want to cut to this chase over here about what's going to happen, or like they always raise the inflation. And they never ask why the tariffs. In this case, it's fentanyl's killing Americans. It's slaughter.
Well, we had a pretty good conversation with you about the why last time, Peter, and we understand the point of making this argument, but we just want to get some answers for our listeners and viewers about when these might take effect. This isn't about inflation, and it's not about the why. We just want to know when.
Asked and answered. I told you. You will go listen to what the president had to say. It's contingent on Mexico's cooperation and Canada's cooperation in terms of killing Americans with fentanyl. What I'm trying to share with you, which I think is for the longer term more germane, is this copper proclamation we did yesterday and the one earlier in the week on digital service taxes has tremendous importance for people's portfolios.
We'd like to talk about that executive order exploring. We would love to talk. We would love to talk, Peter, about copper tariffs. I'm trying to ask you about them right now. I'd like to talk about the copper executive order specifically. When we're talking about a commodity like that, do we have the capacity domestically to make up for anything that may be offset by not being able to import as much? If all of this is about trying to protect American commodity production, to what degree and to how quickly can that be ramped up to make sure that it's still able to meet demand?
So this is never a question of not being able to have enough. It's just a question of what kind of steps we take to protect the domestic copper industry across the smelting and refining process and the mining. So we don't really have to worry about, we're not putting up a wall to imports themselves. We're just trying to deal with this central problem now. And it's a problem across a lot of commodities we have right now. We have a very large overcapacity in copper worldwide. That results in significant dumping into the marketplace here in America, and thereby suppresses our ability to open new mines, which we have. There's two great ones in Arizona we could develop, one up in Alaska we could develop. The smelting itself, which we haven't opened any new smelters in a long time, and others are being opened around the world, and we're simply not having enough refining capacity. That's what we're trying to establish. And the problem is, if you look at the curves, we had a tremendous surge in demand for copper over the next decade because of the electrification of our economy, in part due to things like AI. And so when you chart
well,
that
and that's
curve
why
out,
I asked the question about whether shortages could result if you do see that increase in demand, but there are levies in place on importing.
We'll just pay, the tariffs will be paid, we'll get whatever we need. And in the meantime, as we saw with steel and aluminum, we went from a 70% roughly capacity utilization in the first Trump term to 80 in profitability. We had $15 billion of new investment. We had new mills built. And then in the 4 years of Biden, we lost 2 aluminum foundries, and capacity utilization went back down to the low 70s. So what we're trying to do is build a sustainable investment environment for key commodities and products which are critical to our national security. And by the way, why copper? I mean, it seems, well, copper is like the second most important thing that the Defense Department uses for its weapon systems. And it's also part of everything that's high technology. It's part of the electrification of the grid. And we've had a situation where we used to have zero import dependence, and we're up to about 50% now. And if you just keep those lines going, that import dependence is going to increase and increase, and we're going to be vulnerable to shocks and geopolitical problems. And President Trump says that's not the world we're going to live in. We're going to live in one which is safe, secure, and prosperous.